Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folani. I hope you had a great weekend. By now, you would have heard the news that the U.S. military, I think it was an overnight raid, they've taken out the leader of, the Sunni extremist group ISIS, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, as you know, that's ISIS or ISIL, depending on how you're looking at it. The full name is Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant. Okay, so good news, no doubt, for the global war against terrorism. But since ISIS has sort of franchised out terror, it has reached, especially in Asia and Africa, it has reached our shores as well. So we'll be looking at the implication, if you like, of this decapitation of the leader of ISIS, what effect it is likely to have on here. The U.S. authorities say that, they've been studying terrorist groups for decades, and they expect that ISIS will probably replace the leader in another few days or few weeks. But as I said, a resilient group, no doubt, but let's look at the implications of taking out of the leader. If you want, the extremist, the Sunni extremist, foremost Sunni extremist leader, he's taking out, what effect it will have on us here. And, two people are going to be discussing this with us. We have Janet in the house. Janet Mba Afolabi, publisher School Report. She's a journalist of repute and long-standing. Thank you very much for coming on the program.
Good morning, Yeri. This is my first time on your program, so how do you welcome me?
Well, first of all, we're delighted to have you. And then, when on radio or TV programs, they say, this is my first appearance, and then they do a pangolo or something. I'm sorry, we won't be able to go to that extent here, but we're delighted to have you as always. So, Janet, how did you receive the news of, U.S. is getting to be good at this in the Obama administration, President Obama also monitored everything going on from the Situation Room. That was when he wanted to. That was when the U.S. took out the leader of
Al-Qaeda.
Osama bin Laden. I even hear that they've taken out his son as well. That's another story.
Yes,
exactly.
Yes,
but the big news of the day is that President Trump, also watching events in Syria from the Situation Room in the U.S., flanked by top senior government officials. He has given his own particular account of it, deriding the leader. All of that, of course, between America and between him and his domestic audience in America. But for us, do you see an implication for us in this, shall we say, weakening of the hold of terror?
I don't see a long-term weakening of the reign of terror, but perhaps an immediate weakening, because I read the book of Osama bin Laden, and I understand a bit of the psychology of these terrorists. They are diehards, they don't give up because they believe they are fighting an ideology war. And so nothing physically can really break them. When the moment you kill some will emerge. The harder they come, the harder they fall, and the harder they also regroup again and again. And sometimes when their leaders die like that, they immediately get a new leader. Even those who volunteer to be leaders will come up. So I see that in Nigeria, that the ISIS members may want to re-strategize, that their leader has died, does not mean that our security agents should go to sleep and say it is Uhuru. It is not yet Uhuru. There is still more work to be done, considering the fact that 2 weeks ago, the governor of Borno State extended an olive branch to the Boko Haram that let's have peace. And they said, no, the war has just begun. The war has just commenced in Sambisa Forest, and the war has even started again at the Lake Chad. So you could see that they are not ready for peace. They are ready for war, and they are not ready to retreat.
Which is likely the way their organization is being seen on a global scale as well. And I think it's important that you brought up that ideological bit.
Yes.
Well, call it what you will if you're not part of the group, brainwashing, indoctrination, and all of that. They just believe that their cause is divine.
Yes.
And that's part of the challenge here. our groups, you know, we refer to them, we keep on referring to them as, well, they do certainly perform criminal acts, but they're also ideological, highly ideological, aren't they? Because it was the export, if you like, of the Sunni terrorist group that we're talking about. They're franchising around the world, Asia and Africa. That's where we find ourselves now.
Yes, because they've been attacking like 5 continents of the world. And talking about they've been involved in criminal activities, that is their stock in trade. From the book I told you I read about Osama bin Laden, because it's a war, they need to sustain it. Fighting a war is not an easy task. You need serious funding. There are those that are funding them directly and there are those that are funding them indirectly. And they also go out of their way to seek for funds, whether through criminal activities, banditry, drug. Because in that book, Yori Falarin, I think you should read it. You see how even Osama was alleged to have been involved in growing of heroin, cocaine in African countries.
They will get their money wherever they can find it.
Yes, so that they'll be able to fund the fight. So they involve, so I'm not surprised that they involve in killing, they involve in kidnapping, they involve in banditry, they involve in stealing and all manners of criminal activities just to fight that cause. Because if you are truly fighting a divine cause, that you are fighting for God, I don't think killing should be involved. Islam is a religion of peace. Christianity is a religion of love. But somehow these people, security experts allege that their own version is twisted, is crooked, and it's ultra fanatic Islam, which the mainstream the Islamic scholars and even some Muslims are not happy about. They are even horrified by some of the things they claim and some of the things they want to do. So they are not, some of them are not supporting these extremists, whether in form of Sunnis or Shiites or Boko Haram, in whatever form or coloration. The mainstream are not supporting because they keep preaching that we are a people of peace. So why are you causing trouble?
Okay, you're talking about when
mainstream.
people talk about Islam.
Yes,
Islam
that
is
Islam
a
is
religion
of peace.
And if you people are calling yourselves Muslims,
yes,
we just can't understand.
You are doing the opposite.
Yeah.
You are doing the opposite.
As you know, well, ISIS, ISIL, call it what you will, it's one and the same. They actually would like to establish an Islamic state. And there was a time when they actually had captured territories, but they're on the back foot now. They're much weakened from that time. So what they've done, reportedly, is that they've reverted to their guerrilla tactics of hit and run, hitting soft targets, causing panic, causing terror and confusion all over the place. That is...
Yes. Yeah. The man who was causing terror, terrifying people, I mean the head of ISIS who just died, eventually, the manner that he died, he also was terrified. He was harassed. He was pursued by dogs to the end of the tunnel. And he knew that when you get to the tunnel, at the end of the tunnel, what do? It's either he turns and faces the dogs and is devoured by the dogs, or he's caught alive. But he decided to just take his own life. He killed himself.
He was wearing a suicide vest.
Yes, by igniting the suicide vest.
Exactly. This goes to show you. It's like every day, I imagine. They would imagine that every single day could be their last. And
day.
They're okay with that.
Yes.
He tried to escape. When he found himself in a dead end, he detonated, reportedly.
He detonated and died. For him, it was better to die than to be caught alive. And you also know that, talking about capturing territories, he actually announced the creation of caliphates in Syria and Iraq until the U.S. defeated those caliphates and then put him on wanted list. That was how he now became the most wanted person.
The world's most wanted person. The U.S.
yes.
put a $25 million
yes.
bounty on his head.
On his
now,
head.
that's a lot of tempting money.
But
because
nobody
the US,
will claim the money.
well, how do you know? I don't think they're going to go out and say, okay, would you believe that Janet helped us out, and so we got in.
Okay, it's true, because
so they're not going to do that.
Yes.
So we don't know. They're going to remain, even as garrulous as Trump can be sometimes. This particular occasion not accepted, he was reticent on that. And when you I don't want to go too much into the U.S. side of things, but if you compare and contrast the way Obama advised the world that the U.S. had, with a coalition, had taken out Al-Qaeda, it was very, very short on details. Trump, by comparison, he got all the descriptions. He said it was like a movie. He said he was watching it. It was like a movie. He was running like a scared dog. He was screaming and yelling, and finally, doing everything to, in war, all in love and war, they say all is fair.
All is fair.
But Trump's that was Trump for you. But I wonder if you had said at the beginning that you would be surprised if this had any immediate effect. I was thinking that maybe this would give them something of a crisis of confidence, and that our operatives here fighting local terror, I think we have it in Boko Haram, we also have it in
the Shiites.
Yes, we also have it in their case as well. How will they take this, even though we've considered that they're likely to replace it very quickly? But does this show that, generally speaking, this idea is not going to work? Because President Trump was mindful to thank a few countries that, by mentioning them, Russia is among those people.
Yes.
I think there were also aspects of the Kurds that he said also were helpful. Would you like to examine that line?
Yes, a lot of countries were helpful because 5 continents had under
Everybody's
attack.
affected by it.
Everybody's attacked. The whole world is under threat by terrorists. So everybody is concerned, everybody except them and their supporters are worried, and they want this war by terrorists to end. Because in Nigeria, it's really taking a devastating effect on the states of the north, some states of the north. Up till now, the Emir of Bama has not returned to his throne. Up till now, because of Boko Haram. The one of Gwoza returned this year, about 3 months ago, after 5 years of being sacked from his throne. So you can imagine that the psychology, a whole emir, a whole king of a throne being sacked by terrorists. They are not allowing development in those areas. They are not allowing education in those areas, and they are creating serious refugee problems in the various IDP camps. And they are also posing a threat for food security, because these people are largely farmers. They can no longer go to their farms to sow crops that will give Nigeria food. They can no longer enjoy the fishing enterprise that they were doing, particularly in Borno. I'm talking about Borno because they had this huge fish market that was supplying some parts of Africa, not only Nigeria. But they can't do that with peace of mind anymore. Indeed. So those are the effects. But these people don't care. Unfortunately, some villagers are supporting them. They have wives, they have children, and some of these children and their wives also go to IDP camps, mingle with those who want terrorism to end, enjoy the benefits of the IDP camp, gather information, and then return one after. They don't return en bloc like that. You don't see them going back one after the other. And when they want them to come back to the IDP camp, security experts said they will gather them and put them in a place where soldiers will see them. And soldiers will now be happy that they have been able to recover.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Let's take a break because I said at the top that there are going to be 2, commentators on the program, and Yemi Makbadirun has arrived. Stay with us, please. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back. The ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, he's been killed in a U.S. operation, and so the extremist terrorist group is now without a leader. But experts don't think that is going to be for too long, going by trends that have been studied. We also have they've exported terror, by way of franchise, if you like, to not just Asia, but also Africa, which concerns us the most. And we have their local representatives here, or at least adherents, if not representatives, and are very much extolling their ideas and carrying on, Again, they're in trouble with the government here. They're outlawed in most countries. Maybe I should ask, and oh, by the way, Yemi, well known to our viewers by now, Yemi Mapadirun, a strategy and governance expert. Good morning, sir, and thank you as always for coming in.
Good morning. Glad to be here after a 3-hour bumpy ride.
I passed through it.
Oh.
I did.
Okay, well, I understand. So, how did it grab you when you heard the news? Did your mind go to our fight against terror, or the more general, the global war on terror? And although people who refer to America as the policeman of the world, I don't know if that's fair or not, but there you go.
No, I think it was the drama of it that struck me first. Bringing back the images of what happened in 2011 when Osama bin Laden was taken out in a similar operation under the administration of former President Barack Obama. And I also looked at the domestic implication of that singular action.
Yes.
The timing, both for domestic and also for foreign relations or international relations vis-a-vis the United States of America, and the perceived reduction or dwindling fortune of the United States in terms of global relevance, under President Trump. The perception and the picture that Donald Trump painted up until recently, that I am more concerned about the domestic affairs of America, and the anticlimactic, and dramatic effect of it coming so soon after pulling out American troops, from the same zone. And then, of course, we need to also come back home and see what implications, these kind of activities, and actions are for us, and globally also talking about, the menace of, terrorism. To me, the taking out, or the death of, Baghdadi should signal a momentous, turnaround in the fight against terrorism. I have read and listened to reactions by different world leaders, depending on their political affinity with the United States of America. The Russians practically pretended they didn't know anything of such was going on.
Yes.
In fact, up to now, they seem to be saying, well, we don't even have facts yet that any of such thing, happened.
That's fair.
But of course, on the other side, Trump made it clear that he tried to carry along, he informed, Turkey and Russia about an impending military action without giving them, predictable
details
of what was going to
In fact, it was said that he refrained from giving them any details, both when the troops landed, but not until they were also out of Iraq. Mission accomplished.
Yes.
Then he makes the announcement.
Oh, yes.
Reportedly.
Because at that point, it's a very delicate military exercise. I mean, helicopters flying over even part of Russia, that supposedly confirmed why he had to contact Russia, that something was going to happen.
Something big was coming.
Something big was coming. And so, it was dramatic. It was like a movie, like he said.
He said it.
Because we were right there
in the situation room,
watching, with the defense secretary and the other guys in NIA, the vice president and the rest of them. And so, for me, like I was saying, going beyond the entertainment value of this, because I must say that there is some entertainment value to it. Why should Mr. Trump timed that action, military action, at the point that the Turkish were also conducting a kind of military action that may eventually lead to the capture or killing of Baghdadi. If the Turkish had been left to do it, it will have taken a whole lot of the relevance of the United States of America when it comes to the ability, to confront and commit to fighting terrorism. And so they might have realized that, come on,
You can't let
you can't let the talks, to go with this, glory of taking out ISIS. By the way, we must also situate this in perspective, that ISIS had actually suffered, great reversals, because they were not as active as they used to be. In fact, at some point, the Americans said ISIS had been dealt with.
Yes, yes.
But with al-Baghdadi still alive, still in the picture, still with the ability to command some form of followership, as it happened here, not just in Nigeria, but the Nigeria, Mali, and the West African flank. You have the ISWA, right? The Islamic State for West Africa, which is actually an affiliate of ISIS. So they had the capacity to move from the well-policed part of the world to the other vulnerable places like Nigeria and West Africa. And that is why this action, I believe, will have a kind of salutary effect, on the fight against terrorism in Nigeria. It has the ability to incapacitate the local affiliates of ISIS in some of these other vulnerable countries like Mali, like Nigeria, and even El Shabaab in Somalia and Kenya, and the rest of those. If there is time, we'll come back to the domestic implications of this for American politics.
I'm sure. Yeah, did you want to go there? Because
No,
not necessarily.
I don't want to talk about domestic impact on America,
Trump,
because we want to localize the impact and the effect of the death of the head of ISIS
on our local struggle here.
On our local struggle. That is.
Yeah, but there's no way Trump won't milk this. When in an election season, he's going
definitely.
to. In fact, he's even started already, saying that this is different and better than the Obama taking out.
Exactly, because he will use it as part of his campaign strategy. And because of this, if 100 people wanted to vote for him, maybe 500 will vote. He has gone in history on record as the president who successfully removed the leader of ISIS. It does not matter whether another leader will come up tomorrow, but at least this action has been taken and it is on record. He has taken the glory, America has taken the glory ahead of Turkey. Turkey could have done it. Perhaps it was not too sure of the strategy to use. But America took the risk. Sometimes you have to just take the risk, because it was a huge risk to go in there, and they
if it had been bungled,
they may have been killed. But they didn't care. I think psychologically they matched each other. They matched the ISIS. There's this psychology about warfare. If you go there with the psychology of either I think, I swim, or I sink.
Exactly.
There's no middle of the road. It's either you fly or you go down. And that is the psychology of this ISIS, the Boko Haram, the Shiites, the terrorists generally. They have this no fear psychology, that no matter what, they are not afraid.
Well, since you are talking about the local aspects of this particular conversation, are our terrorists as bad?
They are as bad. They are as bad because they are trained by them, they are indoctrinated by them, they are to an extent funded by them. In fact, I could say that they are even more dangerous, our own local, because our own terror, our own native, let me use the word native now, terrorists are also pained by, in quotes, the situation in the country. I'm talking about some of them are alleging of marginalization, some of them are alleging of hunger and all of that. But those from the other countries, they may not have the kind of environment that we have. So their level of involvement is not as deep as the terrorists in Nigeria. The terrorists in Nigeria have further twisted the version that the ISIS brought to them.
by
And so it,
by
by
as it were, localizing, Nigerianizing,
it.
you know. Abu, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hello, good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you very much. I greet you people for the studio.
Thank you.
Uncle Yori, every day I dey wait for the headline say which day will capture Shakau. Every day, the first headline now they wait to make it capture Shakau. But I know it's coming soon by God's grace, yeah. But what in America do, I don't think say America just take advantage of Turkey. Never say I don't think say America nine do the job. Turkey do the job, but America have intelligence, take advantage of the intelligence and make history. That's all my honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. He's putting his own analysis on it. As you have just been saying that Turkey would have done it. But America quickly moved in. We can't allow Turkey to cut this thing.
No, even the Turkish are not allowing this to just go away without claiming a part of the diadem. I mean, they've said we did it. I mean,
Exactly.
That was a comment that, I mean, we did it. We broke them. We went in there and then, short of saying the Americans, crossed the T's and dotted the I's. But having said that, it wasn't...
Okay, let me just respond. I don't know how to translate it directly into English, but I'll just say Yoruba and try to translate. You see, he said Turkey did and America completed it. Yoruba people say that ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ kì í ṣoníṣẹ́, àfẹni tó bá forí tì dópin. You know, the person that starts the job...
I think we can also add Ọkùnrin Radio Obìnrin Pa. I think we can add that one as a related... Sorry about that, guys.
So it is not the person that started it. It's like GSM in Nigeria. They said, oh, it's Abacha that started it. But he didn't complete it.
Exactly.
Obasanjo came and gave us GSM. That's who we know. We don't want to know the history. We're not here to talk about the past. We're here to talk of the achievement.
They also said that about BVN. That whereas we're celebrating BVN, the work for BVN started in the last administration, but this administration has launched it. No, that was just a slight digression. But you were making the point that no, actually, what point were you making? We got also excited.
No, the local terrorists.
Yeah, you were on that line until the call
okay.
Came,
maybe Mazi Okorafor bring me back on track. Good morning, Mazi Okorafor.
Good morning, Your Excellency Sayori, and good morning, our guests in the studio.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, our only lady in the studio. Good morning, man.
Good morning, sir.
Honestly, Sayori, thanks be to God for what happened. You see, it took American operational force weeks to capture the young man, although according to the report that...
He's not a young man, no.
Like
that photo you are seeing, Mazi, is he a young man?
No, but let me tell you what I mean by young man. Al-Baghdad killed himself, knowing fully well that what he was doing was bad. You see, he had all the killable that's on his body. That the wars come, he will kill him instead of them to capture him alive. Knowing very well that what he was doing was very well. That is to say that all these terrorists, both Nigeria, all the African countries, Al-Shaddad, Al-Bashar, name them. Somalia, all of them knows that what they are doing are very, very bad. Now look at what we are going to learn from this. You see, the American forces that went for that operation, nobody knows that they were looking for this young man. According to him, because this is not 80, it's not, at least it should be around 40 or 50. It's not up to 60. That was according to young man. Now, you see the secrecy among the American forces. Nobody knew that they were looking for them. But when America left Syria, the whole world thought that America had gone. America had to locate back to Iraq. When America went to Iraq, they were operating between Iraq boundary, inside Iraq, and the boundary of Syria, while Turkey were just doing their forces. Then people thought America had gone. But how many soldiers? Up to 100 soldiers, American soldiers, went to Iraq. Meanwhile, American soldiers were already in Iraq. Now, you see how the operation went. The secrecy was there, and the forces, that are to track down Albert were a different forces that was already at the boundary. And they make sure that they must follow the man's road. So that, you know, he was in the tunnel. By the time he entered the tunnel, American forces already at the opposite tunnel. So there's no how he can enter the tunnel. What is that? He blew up himself. Suicide bomb. He committed suicide by killing himself. Because he knows very well that when they capture him, now, if you watch CNN, you see that what they destroyed, man, you look at the type of structure the young man was staying. Look at the facilities that were there. Look at the video system, that how he was monitoring status. The whole world, which he was just supervising, only him with his voice. Now look at the crop of people behind him. Now, do you have such sophisticated ammunition outside? Now you ask yourself, in Nigeria, we should play up that cassette. That's bringing down. Let our military personnel sit down, study what happened there, the type of ammunition, how they were moving step by step. This will help us because you learn by doing what? That's from known to unknown. Not a question of self-problem. But by the time we see that the military personnel, the intelligence people now should say that. Now look at the caliber of young boys that were there. Are they retail people? Now you ask yourself, how do these people get money to finance it? How do the ammunition get to them, to that very spot? You see the desert, which means our forest area that are just dominant, nobody cares about that there is need for Nigerian security men, whether state governors or the local governments, to police all those areas. Thank you very much. Let me give other opportunity to talk down. Have a pleasant and fruitful day in Lagos.
Thank you very much, Mazi Okoro, for that round trip. Well, no doubt, I think Mazi is stating the obvious, by which I mean that our own local operatives, intelligence community, military strategists, and all of that would have been glued to whatever is available by way of visuals from that particular operation, trying to analyze it and all of that. Now, he started off by speaking about the methodology, how America arrived, the secrecy. It was not known that they were on this particular quest. It's after all said and done that we're now hearing that Baghdadi was under surveillance for up to 3 weeks. None of that leaked. All of these things that we're able to say now, it's only because the operation has been completed, and it goes back to Mazi talking about the secrecy involved. And I think there was an unsaid thing in there that, look, that's not how we go about our own. Sometimes there are times when people say we say too much. I mean, we don't say enough. And then sometimes people say that we say too much too soon. Oftentimes we've announced that we've taken out something, we've taken out someone, only to be embarrassed by the person showing up with a mocking video and that kind of a thing. You know.
Well, I think you've actually tried to hit the nail on the head. It's about the outcome of whatever you do. If this exercise had gone all right, I mean, people will have said, why didn't Trump carry along, NATO and the rest of
all of that,
and so forth. But the fact that they were precise and they were correct in their decision making, they made decisions severally and then changed decisions due to the prevalence of the environment, and that is where strategy comes in. The strategist mindset to all of this is that there is an objective, and you must know your enemy. El-Baghdadi was being monitored with technology. They knew where he was. You see, it wasn't just a daredevil operation. They had all the information. In fact, the troops didn't go through the main gate, the main door, because they knew that there were already booby traps for them. They had to break in through a fence.
Such was the quality of the intelligence.
Because they had everything at the tip of their fingers. And if you count the number of personnel that carried this out, I mean, it's not in the news yet.
Yes.
But if they went with 10 helicopters, it goes without saying that you probably have less than 50, soldiers, that carried out this. So it's not about the number of soldiers. It's about the technology, which enabled the Americans to gather relevant, sufficient, and usable intelligence. Online, real time, because things could change at any point in time. But they even met with fire during the flight over northern Syria, and they returned fire. So the ISIS guys knew very well
that
these guys were coming. Now, beyond the secrecy, obviously, nobody expects military operations to be carried out on the pages of newspapers. Even those who don't have to know. Do you know that Trump didn't inform the Democrats in the Senate and in the Congress?
Not to mention the
He did not involve them. Absolutely.
I've had Yakub, Mr. Yakub in Dokwemo. Good morning, sir, and thank you very much for holding on.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for calling in.
Good morning to your guest. This Baghdad takeoff, I think the Nigerian government needs to learn a lot. So it's not clear to us, especially we citizens of this country, that it's not amount of personnel you have. It's your intelligence gathering. Because I'm very happy that one of the strategic persons in person of Mr. Mafagiri. In everything that you do in life, you must get your strategy right. No matter what, no matter ammunition, no matter hardware you have, if you don't get your strategy and intelligence gathering right, that's not how you can take on all these guys. You know why? This war of ICC, Boko Haram, and some affiliates of them, it is not easy to fight, because this is the people that whether you kill them, what they believe in is that where I die, I'm going to a paradise. The one is that if you got me killed, so be it. And then the issue is this: the Nigerian government should be able to not to tell Nigerian again. Especially whereby you want to go to Sambisa Forest, and then you make it announced that small time now we are moving into Sambisa, we want to take off. Look at what they did to this guy. Nobody knows, as Mr. Mapadon just said. Nobody knows that they are monitoring this guy because they have the technology. We need to invest in our technology if we want to take on this Boko Haram. So I'm very happy. And then tomorrow, don't be surprised. These people, they have how they nominate their leader. Tomorrow now, another person will just resurface, yes, I'm now a leader of ICC now. And then I give kudos to America, including even the Turkey. Because you made a proper death. It's a very good, because both of them, they work in hand. And then although America takes the glory, and then we know that those guys, they also contribute a lot. But having said that, I'm looking towards the day that announcement will come in this country that this is the ending of Boko Haram. I will be very, very happy.
Indeed.
Because they are very so deadly people. God Almighty Allah know that what they are doing, it is not in our Quran. It is only God Almighty Allah will take on of them and then finish them off. Thanks and God bless.
Thank you very much for calling in, Yakub. And since Yakub went and brought up my Yoruba in the midst of an English language program, at that stage, who is going to? I think who's going to tell us what Okurin Radio Obinipa?
It simply means the end justifies the means.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. and if people are looking for particulars, it's a local saying: should a man see a snake, and it is the woman that beheads the snake and kills it, hey, let the snake just be dead. Don't worry about who did what.
Yes.
And that's
the important thing is that the snake
is dead. And all of this we were saying, I think you started it off. You started off with one particular Yoruba sentence
that triggered another
one. But the point is being made about the seeming professionalism of this particular operation, vis-a-vis some of the things that we do, which people that might not have all the facts. After all, they are not trained military people. We are commentators. And I imagine that sometimes it must feel a bit to the guys who are trained, like every Nigerian is an expert on soccer, for instance, and knows when the referee is doing a bad job and all of that. So I imagine that's the way some of us can be sometimes.
Well, I mean, and expectedly so. I mean,
Yes.
there is a story of someone who makes tea. I mean, for a living, and he doesn't even know how to make a good tea, but he keeps telling people how the prime minister or the president ought to have taken one thing or the other. So, I mean,
Yes.
we must get used to that if we are not already used to it. Having said that, talking about the issue of professionalism, I was going to land on the interagency cooperation.
Okay.
That was seen playing out in the operation to northern Syria by the Americans. All the intelligence agencies were involved. All of them. The national intelligence, the CIA, the military, the Pentagon, everybody was involved. So it was a collective, effort, that resulted in what we got.
Yemi is making this particular point, I would imagine, because of some experiences we have had in a stated objective, intelligence objective, where there are discordant, tunes among them.
Yes, there is no doubt that all the security agencies need to unite, need to cooperate. There is no way we can win the war against Boko Haram without the Air Force, because it is the Air Force that will first go for surveillance. They are on air, they know what is happening. The army too is very important, there is no doubt. And we don't need too many security agents. We don't need too many people to fight this war and win it. We only need those who are committed to the fight, those who believe in the victory, those who are patriotic enough. I'm trying to make a point. Who are patriotic enough, because the Boko Haram, the terrorists, are bonded by their faith, by their mission, and by their ideology. So the bond is higher than the security agents who are going to fight the same war. So that's
only merely sworn to an oath of allegiance.
And doing it as a means of livelihood.
Yes.
Maybe unemployment push them into taking up the job in the army or in the Air Force. So they don't have that commitment. They are not bonded by anything. Unless there is that bond, you need to handpick those who you trust.
Okay, I get the point you're making. And it's probably when you hear of some of those elitist groups, we have them in Nigeria, in America, you hear about the Navy SEALs and that kind of thing. There's an extra bond.
Yes.
Beyond professionalism.
Exactly.
There's an extra special bond. But Sam in Ikorodu, good morning, sir, and thank you very much for holding on all that while.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you for calling in. Good morning.
Good morning, Yori. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good morning, the team in the house.
Thank you.
They said it all. Intelligence, cooperation is very, very important. And there must be a set point to direct the operation. Look at what happened in the United States. The president of the United States directed, supervised the operation. He was in the control room. This war is not a conventional war. It's a war you use intelligence. And you look for the head, you nip it in the bud. When you cut the head, the whole body will become useless. Now, the implication for Nigeria is that, from the analysis they've just given, out of the 30,000 ISIS in Syria that have not left Syria, they say 4,000 are in West Africa. That is the implication. And some went to Southern Asia, some to Eastern Asia. But 4,000 are in West Africa. And out of that 4,000, I know to concentrate on the northeast of Nigeria. So that is the implication. So our security forces should cooperate. Our president should take it by the bull by the horn himself. Because you cannot trust anybody. You can't. There is science agency rivalry. So when he steps in, when the head steps in, and they see his seriousness, they will behave, and we will win the war.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sam, for calling in from Ikorodu there. No doubt the president has said repeatedly that it's a priority, combating terror, head on and defeating it, even though, of course, we've come to hear that it's a lot easier said than done. But we're hard at it because the point has been made here that ISIS used to be a lot more powerful than it actually is today as of the taking out of this guy. They cannot pull the stunts that they used to pull before. Even some caliphates that they, had taken, they were dispossessed of that. So it's not been a good story for them. So it's like, I think it's having the capacity to keep up that is also going to be important, perhaps, because it's one thing to go out for one time, but it looks like it's going to be a lifelong commitment, since you've spoken about the ideology and the whole mental mindset where they believe crazily that what they're doing is right. Even, and so much so that they even now wear a vest, as this guy did, that should the worst come to the worst, I'm not going to be taken prisoner by these guys. Emmanuel in Otupo, Benue State, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
Good morning to the security expert with you in the studio.
Well, okay. I don't know. Who is the security expert
I'm a journalist. I'm a journalist.
And I want to specially greet Janet.
Okay.
Mba Afolabi.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for the good work you are doing.
Janet is a journalist. She's not a security expert, even though she has experience covering such stories.
All right. She's talking like a security expert.
Okay. And Yemi Makpaderun is a strategist.
Okay. They are great analysts.
Thank you.
So taking out the leader of IC, it was a great achievement. I don't care who did it, but the important thing is that the leader is off.
Okay.
It happened during the days of Osama bin Laden. You see, these people are very fast in getting their successor because there's always somebody closely following them. Like Osama bin Laden, the Egyptian, as our hero, the Egyptian ophthalmologist was his deputy.
Yes.
And he stepped in neatly. So we won't be surprised if any guy now stepped in to replace their slain leader. But what we are happy about is that it has kind of affected them seriously. It has.
Emmanuel, do you think it's going to affect our own war here against our local terrorists?
It will. Psychologically, it will affect our war here too, the Boko Haram war. One, their major support comes from ISIS. Recently, we understand that ISIS sponsored Boko Haram. That's why we have ISWA, the Islamic State of West Africa. So with the death of the leader of ISIS, psychologically, they will be decimated. And all that, the supplies that are getting from over there, they will be so disorganized that they may not get the supply. And also, our people who are compromising, because I believe that there is a bit of compromise with the Boko Haram fight. That's why it is taking this turn. If not, why should our boss always be, before you know it, they say they have been waylaid, they have been, their camp has been attacked, and the military wares have been carted away. It happens so often that you are tempted to believe that there are moles in the Nigerian army who are working with the Boko Haram. So, with the death of the leader of ISIS, I think they will take dressing and they will come to their senses and see that at the end of the day, they may be fished out and it will be a big disgrace. So, I thank God for this success. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I think like it landed, I mean, symbolically.
Yes.
This singular event.
Is there anything we can do to consolidate on it from our side? Because we're watching all of this going on. Our boys in uniform are working right round the clock. Is there any possibility of any consolidation?
You see, for me, I mean, we must get our expectations must be curtailed. Okay. Because, I mean, what the United States of America did, I'm not even sure the UK or Germany, or Japan or France will be able to handle it. So don't let us expect that, the Nigerian military will just conduct an operation and then Shekau or whoever, is arrested. I'm not suggesting that will not happen, but let not our expectation be too high. But what can we learn from all of these? One, we have mentioned the high level of, the secrecy, the detailed planning, the intelligence, gathering, and then the one-mindedness of those who went for that operation. And everything boils down to that singular thing that ties the Americans together, and that is the love for their country. They are patriotic, they are nationalistic, and that is why at the end of all of this, you won't hear even the Democrats, trying to politicize it, or the Republicans trying to glue over it. It's about, a common front that, the Americans are pursuing, both for their interests and also for the benefit, of the rest of us who are more vulnerable.
And Janet, in closing, that common front is all important that Yemi spoke about, and that's an area of challenge for us here.
That is a big challenge. If we are united and bonded, select those who you know when you are a general, you know those who are loyal and those who are not. You can test them in many ways to know, because there are moles from both sides, both in the Boko Haram side and the Nigerian army side, and that's why information leaks. So you pick those who are extremely loyal. Nobody can be 100%, but get those who are patriotic enough to see that this war.
In other words, much more commitment to screening of these people,
and then boost their morale. Their morale needs to be high all the time.
Okay, then thank you very much, Janet. Janet Mba Afolabi, publisher, Scroll Report, and journalist, a veteran journalist, and Mr. Yemi Makwadirun, strategy and governance expert. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for sharing your perspectives with us on this. And we hope that when we call you again, you guys will come.
Hey, mommy.
You
didn't welcome me now, so I would like.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folarin. Bye bye for now.